It's Monday. It's going to be one of them weeks. Concrete seems to have gone absolutely mad, but our pan mixer has been worked to the absolute bone. So that's having some TLC. The actual pan mixer itself, well, there's nothing left of it, so there's a new one of them on order. But we need to keep a lorry in the yard for collections. So it's going to be an interesting week. Well, everyone's going to be getting frustrated, I would imagine, coming back, possibly having to mix up, but let's see what happens this week. Here is the old pan mixer. It's got a hole in the floor, so we've definitely got our money's worth. But I have treated myself to a drone, so if you're starting to think, why is there no air footage going on? That is why. You're not losing your marbles. That is me playing with a drone. I'm not saying it's going to be any good, but yeah, something a bit different. Here we've got my cousin mixing up a semi-dry ST4 10mm stone for curb lane. Materials being shot in the shovel bucket and tipped onto the back of the truck outside the gate.
I'm up to something, you cannot stop me. I feel so strong now, I feel so happy. Not even 1 cent in my pocket.
So I've just pulled up to a job and I wasn't going to film this one, but I've never loaded one of these before. That's a 3.5 ton forklift. It's got a tippy bin on the front of it. So yeah, I thought that'd be quite interesting for you lot. Standard footed mix going in the bin here. Gen 1, 20mm stone at 70 slump. Luckily the machine can get the whole way around the foundation, meaning minimal dragging around of the product for the guys. Now he is not doing half loads either, he's getting me to fill it right up. Didn't think the twist on it was going to be as good as it actually is. It's almost like a digger bucket. So I am now leaving that job. Would I choose one of those over a 1 ton dumper? Absolutely. That's a mega bit of kit. You definitely get more in there than you can a 1 ton dumper. And the steering on it was very impressive. So yeah, for all you boys, dumper or one of them, if you're thinking of buying one of them. Now heading back to the yard. Let's see what other weird and wonderful things we see this week. It's Tuesday afternoon. I've just got back from a job in Norwich and my uncle has been playing around here this morning. Put an RSJ in for us, ready for our walls that you've seen in previous videos. to go on top of each other there. We've got to dig a little hole here for another RSJ, and then they sort of slot into each other. But my dad is now under the batching plant. He's now mixing up. Put a bit of dry stuff in first, and we'll wet it up. And hopefully that'll be one project done this week. Here we come again. There we go, that is the post set with the dryer stuff. Got our level all correct. That'll run back on itself. Not that there ever should be any water coming here, but just in case, that'll all run backwards. Dad's now mixing up the wetter stuff for us. The concrete spec we've opted for here is a C30 10mm stone with extra sand. My words, as wet as possible to make it as easy as possible for me and my uncle that ended up on the tamp together. Now this isn't going to be anything perfect, it's only for an aggregate bay. Our shovel driver does a good job of ripping up most of the concrete around the yard anyway. That almost looked professional. Yeah, I did change the wellies as well. It's later on in the afternoon. You now see Dad crushing up what's left of the rubble, producing 6F5. The pile beside him is pure crushed concrete, and the one you see him crushing into now is crushed brick, ready for our third-party aggregate suppliers to transport them to their own customers of their own different sites. I'm now pulling up to a job that you will remember if you've watched all of the videos. We bought this footing about 3 weeks ago. The guy has been bricking up to damp over his weekends off, and our grab driver yesterday, he grabbed 10 ton of type 1 in the Oversight for him, packed that down last night, and we are now pulling up with the concrete. If you hadn't already guessed, I wasn't in yesterday because I'm ill, that's why I sound rough. Yo. The mix the lads asked for on this Oversight is a Gen 3 20mm stone with extra sand. Self-leveling is what come out of the mouths, so after signing our disclaimer ticket of added water, self-leveling is exactly what they got. And to be fair, there's nothing better than watching people make it as easy for themselves as possible. Obviously this isn't finished height. A damp-proof membrane will be laid over the concrete, followed by Celotex insulation. I'll then come back with a sand cement floor screed mix as one of the last and finishing jobs. You will see this later on another job by the end of the video. He's in his element there.
Fucking love it.
Here we go. Here's just one of the trucks we've been loading with our crushed brick rubble. These lorries have a gross weight of 32 tonne, meaning this one in particular on the bridge can carry a full 20 tonne load. As you can see, it hasn't really taken long at all for our big heap to become a very small one once again. Nothing like the full moon in the afternoon. Cheers, Gav. Typical ex-army man. So we are now pulling up to a job. I've done all the concrete works here. We're now at the final stage. That's the 4-in-1 sand cement final toppen. We are shooting them straight through a window. This is my second load. They wanted a bit of a break before I come back with the final one. So it's going to be awkward now, a bit busier for cars. Jump out, connect all the chutes, and they can guide me back. This stuff is a little bit tricky in a concrete lorry with a drum. Mixing up, you want the barrel spinning hardly at all, so it doesn't roll around on itself, making horrible cement balls. During transportation, I fully stop the barrel until unloading. I then keep the barrel at a slow, steady speed, not stopping the drum at all until empty. We don't usually offer barrel jobs with a screed mix, as it can ruin the product very quickly.
Luckily these guys are able to be quick enough to keep catching it in the barrows while the other guy is dragging it down the chute. This is now a finished height material. The guys screed and float, making it as level as can be, ready for final flooring, i.e. carpet, or usually tiles nowadays.
There we go, that is all the rubble crushed and the crushed concrete produced. There isn't much crushed brick rubble left, to be fair, already. That has gone pretty quick this week. Crushed concrete behind me, just sitting there for a bit because we're going to empty this bark bay. That concrete will go in there as well, and that'll go in the 2 bays that we made in this building here. So that'll be bark one side, possibly the lawn dressing the other side. We're not too sure what's going on yet, but yeah, fairly productive week again. And this is what we've got going around this side at the moment. We've got the digger holding up the RSJ butted up against one of the walls. We'll let that cure over the weekend, and we will then put these on top. Pretty nice big deep bays, to be honest. Decent turnout.